John Keller with more on the rising cost of education in the Commonwealth.
Well, good morning. If you've got a student in your life attending a UMass school this fall, well, you better get ready to pay a little bit more. Here to talk about the cost and funding of public higher education in our state and other UMass-related issues is the president of the UMass system, former Congressman Marty Meehan. Mr. President, welcome.
John, great to be back.
Good to have you here. We always appreciate it. So it's nearly 15 grand now in tuition and fees for an in-state resident to go to UMass, plus another 6 grand to share a dorm room. Last Wednesday, the Board of Trustees approved a 3% increase in tuition and fees at the UMass Medical School, and similar increases are being talked about. Where is this headed?
Well, we are looking right now. There's a conference committee working on the state budget. We're trying to determine two things. One is how much money is the state going to contribute? Secondly, whether or not the state is going to fund collective bargaining. They negotiate collective bargaining. By law, they're supposed to fund it. So we're looking at those issues. But my goal is to keep tuition at 2.5%. This year, and we think we can do it. Ideally, John, you'd like to keep tuition around what the inflation rate is for UMass, the cost at UMass, and I think this year we're going to be able to keep it at 2.5%.
How does that compare with what's happening with other colleges and universities?
Community College is up 9%. I mean, as enrollment goes down, it puts a lot of pressure on the public institutions and the private institutions for that matter. So I think that's below where most colleges and universities are. We don't really look at where everyone else is. We look at, we need to try to keep a UMass education high quality, but also affordable. 2.5% seems like a good place to be.
That's tuition you're talking about?
Yes.
Now, but
tuition and fees. It's both.
Tuition and fees.
UMass,
because the fees make up the bulk of the cost.
Not anymore at UMass. I was able to get the governor and the legislature to give us tuition retention. So now, tuition actually reflects what the real tuition cost is. That happened about 1.5 years ago. So that is a change. So when I say tuition, I really mean tuition and fees. All in, 2.5%.
Now, out-of-state students pay, I believe, more than double what the in-state students pay.
They do. They actually subsidize in-state students as a practical matter.
Well, across the system, what's the breakdown of percentages, in-state versus out-of-state?
In UMass Amherst has the highest out-of-state, and they're about 28% right now.
Would you like to see that increased? Because that would mean more revenue, right?
Yes, it would. I would like to see out-of-state and out-of-country students in the sense that it creates a more diverse student body. We want to make sure we're taking Mass residents to UMass as well. UMass Amherst is about 28%, but they're taking more Massachusetts residents than they ever have. So as long as we can accommodate Massachusetts residents, there will be room to take out-of-state students. And in fact, John, if you look at the demographics in Massachusetts and New England, the number of high school students graduating is coming down and will continue to come down over the next decade. It's one of the reasons why places like Mount Ida, Wheelock are closing. Small privates are having a difficult time keeping up because their price point is too high, and demographically there aren't enough students. So I think taking out-of-state students is going to be part of what UMass campuses do on an incremental basis. We don't want to take too many, but on the other hand, yes, we will continue.
Well, what's the sweet spot? Is there a cap on the percent of out-of-state students?
I would say the sweet spot is probably about 30%. If you look at the great public universities in America, they take between 30 and 40%. The other New England publics, UNH, Vermont, they take up to 50% because they just don't have the students to fill the spaces. So I think 30% makes sense. Gives you a diverse, you can't prepare students to be globally competent and have all of the students come from one state.
We've got to take a break, but quickly, what's the status of scholarship money?
Scholarship money is higher than it's ever been. We're going to continue. Every time if there's a tuition increase, we put 20 to 25% into scholarships.
25% of the revenues from the increase?
Yes, goes into scholarships to make us so that we can provide scholarship for those students who are in need. We're also focusing on raising money. It's one of the reasons why they asked me to come to UMass Lowell and now also to take this job. Raising money for scholarships is really important to UMass.
All right, we'll take a break and we'll continue our conversation about what's going on with our state public college system in a moment. So please stay with us.